Thanks for joining us. This is Live with Miami's Community News, and our guests today are Dr. Maria Serrano, who is the Chief Veterinarian at Animal Services, Miami-Dade County, and, of course, Kathleen Labrada, who's Assistant Director there. Welcome, and thanks for coming back again.
Thank you so much for having us.
Okay, tell us about your little puppy that we have here.
So this is Rue. Rue is a 4-month-old Chihuahua baby that was born with no front legs.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, he is perfect. He only has he only has 2 legs, but he doesn't really know that he is perfectly happy. He runs around. He has 2 foster siblings that he plays with. And so far he is doing great. We actually, in order to help him, move better and be even happier, we are getting him a cart. This is a 3D printed cart.
Look
which
at
is
this.
Right here.
Wait, say it again. A 3D printed cart.
Yes. So
Okay.
it is made to his body shape completely. And it is, going to help him be able to move even faster and even better than what he does now. So right now he is in therapy to strengthen his back and his back legs, to be able to just maneuver his cart like a total pro. And
Kathleen, tell us, is Rue available for adoption, and when?
Rue is available for adoption. Right now, our priorities for Rue actually are fundraising. So in addition to the therapy that he's receiving, we're trying to raise funds to help pay for these 3D printed carts. They are quite expensive, and the shelter's asking for the community to step up and help Rue live his best life.
If somebody wants to make a donation specifically to help this little puppy over here, what should they do?
They can visit miamidade.gov/animals, and there's a link there to donate.
Is there a comment section? They say, listen, I would like to try to help this little puppy.
Absolutely. Donations can be directed directly to Rue or to any one of our shelter programs to help support the incredible work that we do. And
could you show everybody again his legs? The two rear legs look pretty nifty, and the front legs.
So I don't know where I'm looking.
Yeah,
I'm looking there,
right?
Tommy,
which one?
Oh,
another
right
one
here.
right there.
So there you go.
Inquiring minds want to know, how did that happen?
Rue was born without the front legs. It's a birth issue that happened, and so he doesn't really know any different. He, as soon as he gets his support in the front, he's going to be able, right now he's a little bit nervous, but he's going to be able to just walk like any other dog.
And where can somebody go to see dogs in similar conditions that are happy? As far as YouTube or wherever it is? Or can they go to your site, the county site?
Well, we get multiple dogs at the shelter. So if they're interested in any of our dogs and cats at the shelter, visit the shelter. The special needs dogs, we normally put them in foster homes so that they can have a little bit more personalized attention.
But if somebody goes to YouTube special needs dog, they're going to see dogs that have something similar in these carts, right?
Absolutely.
Running around.
Footage of rolling Rue.
Yeah, so this is great.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So Rue is coming up here. All right.
So tell them a little bit about rolling Rue.
So Rolling Rue is a dog that was also born without her front legs. She was adopted from the shelter back in February of 2018 and went to the most amazing home. And this dog is now a registered therapy dog. So she goes to hospitals and assisted living facilities, schools, and just spreads so much joy everywhere she goes. So this is another great example of how Miami-Dade Animal Services saves lives every day. And this Rue is not the first dog that we've seen with this condition.
Miami-Dade County and the great people that work for Animal Services have really changed the persona of how we perceive this part of the county. And it's really gotten to a point of loving and caring versus in years past, it certainly was something different. So explain to people why that took place and how you're continuing on that good road.
Before, many years ago, when the department wasn't appropriately staffed or funded, there were very difficult decisions that had to be made. And unfortunately, many animals ended up being euthanized, even if they were healthy and adoptable. But Since the department has obtained proper funding, proper staffing, we've adopted no-kill programs. We're saving more lives than ever. Every year since 2015, we've saved greater than 90% of all animals coming into the shelter, which is phenomenal when you consider that 27 to 30,000 animals come in every year.
And we thank our taxpayers. We thank the county government for doing
Absolutely.
that. So
It's also important to let the community know this is a community effort. I think that shelters are able to change because the communities are changing. And, shelters are nothing without people helping, without people adopting, without people finding, options for dogs or cats when they're not able to have them, to spay and neuter their dogs. So I think that it is a community change overall that the entire world is going through, and we are super happy to be part of it too. So Miami is putting their part in this change.
yeah. And by the way, that's Buddy who's making some loving noise behind the camera. Buddy's a little tiny brown guy about this big. All right.
He wants to be on camera.
Yes, he does. So, Doctor, you could have chosen many, many places to work throughout the world. Why did you pick the Miami-Dade County?
Well, I've actually done a lot of different things in veterinary medicine. I've always wanted to be a vet.
Oh, excuse me 1 second. There's Buddy.
There's Buddy.
Look at Buddy. All right.
Oh, Buddy.
There you go.
Don't growl.
There he is.
Rue's getting jealous.
Oh, no. There's love for everybody.
So I always definitely knew I wanted to be a vet. That's kind of like has always been my calling, I guess. But I have worked in different fields of veterinary medicine, and I got into sheltering without really kind of knowing, and it completely stole my heart. It is a profession that allows me as a veterinarian not only to help so many animals, but to help their people. And that's super important. We help communities. We help people stay with their animals. We help them bond with them. We help them be happy. So that makes me extremely happy.
Yes, and we've seen in the last year and a quarter where adoptions are way up for animals. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we're
Go, Buddy.
Yes, Buddy. Buddy loves everybody. That's why his name's Buddy. Yes. Oh my goodness. He has sharp teeth. Adoptions are up, and as Maria was saying, it's the community that's stepping forward. So we have just a tremendous community of adopters, tremendous rescue organizations. We have about 90 rescues that actively work with the department.
90 rescue organizations.
90 rescue organizations that help, and the rescues are so important to what we do. It's not sad, it's happy. They're so important to what we do. So whether they're medically or
feel free to take
or behaviorally, he just wants his 15 minutes.
He wants to play with him.
He wants to play with Rue.
So 90 rescue organizations, and what do they do? You call them up, say, listen, we got the certain type of dog.
So when we have pets that are in additional need of assistance, so whether it's a behavioral issue or perhaps a medical issue, our rescue partners step up and help pull those dogs. And these are dogs that are better served in a setting outside of the shelter. So if they're animals that are reactive to other animals or don't do well with the noise and the constant commotion that happens in a shelter, it's a very busy location. They just tend to do better in a quieter home environment, and the rescues are able to provide that.
When the dogs get their GPS, what do we call that? When they
A microchip.
Microchip. You get a lot of dogs with chips in them?
So the microchip is not a GPS. It's important to know, though, because ideally we would be able to track them, but we don't. So it's only, it's kind of like an internal tag that when the dog is found, you're able to bring them to a place that has a reader. So veterinarians, a lot of fire departments also have it. We have them, obviously. So you read the top of their body, and it picks up the chip, and then we'll be able to contact a person, an owner.
And how often does that happen, Kathleen?
It happens frequently, and the reason the microchip really is the best form of identification for your pet is if they're wearing their rabies license, as they're required to do by law. That's affixed to a collar.
Say that again.
That's affixed to a collar or a harness, which can be removed. So the microchip's fantastic because it's permanent lifetime identification. It can't fall off. It's not going to fall out. It's there forever. So
and who vets put those in?
Yes,
we do.
We can put them at the animal service. We can put it at animal services. You can go to your regular veterinarian and get a microchip for your dog implanted.
Now, we see frequently there are organizations that advertise for lost and found pets, and I've seen them, and it seems like it's all the time. I mean, there are many of them, and I see these ads popping up, lost, etc. So how many calls a week, more or less, do you get? Hey, I lost my dog. Do you have it? And what do you say to them? Do you deal with the public on that end?
Well, we have a lost and found department that takes care of that, so I won't be able to tell you the exact statistics. We do get a lot of people looking for their animals. Some of them say, no, unfortunately, I haven't chipped it. It is easier to find your dog if the dog is chipped, because that's the first thing people do when they find a dog, make sure that it doesn't have a microchip, or it does have a microchip, to be able to call their owner. So we do get a lot of people trying to find their homes, their pets. If they find the pet, we will microchip them for the future anyway. But I think the national statistic for reuniting shelters with people is about 5%. The national statistics for shelters.
Oh my goodness.
Way to go, buddy.
That's why we need.
It makes Buddy sad.
Right. We need more people chipping the animals. And kind of like realizing that is like a very important thing that you can do to get your dog back, because it is an accident, obviously.
It's unruly puppy.
So, all right, goodbye, buddy.
It's like having kids.
So one of the great things that people can do right off the bat is get their little guy chipped. And at what age can they do that?
They can do them as soon as they get their first vaccine. We do them at the time of intake. So when they come in, we make sure we chip everybody. But any veterinarian will be able to let you know when is appropriate for their pet, depending on their stage of life. You can do it by the time they're 8 weeks, but you can do it at any time in their life.
And Kathleen, tell us again why you're working with at Animal Services.
It's absolutely the best place to work, and the work that we do serves so many. You're helping animals, you're helping people, you're making incredible connections that last a lifetime. So there's nothing else that I wouldn't be happy anywhere else. I did want to say one other thing about the microchip. So when pets are lost, if you find a pet, there's actually an ordinance in Miami-Dade County that requires that the found pet be reported to Animal Services. And the reason we do that is the photograph that the finder of the pet submits is put up on a website, and that way people can go and search on the site for their lost pet. So if you do find a pet, you have the option to bring it to the shelter, where we'll hold the pet to allow the owner the opportunity to come and reclaim. Or if you opt to keep that animal in your home and maybe walk around the neighborhood, see if you can find the owner, you can do that, but you are required to have that pet scanned for a microchip within 72 hours of finding it. It's really important to help with getting pets reunited with their families.
I told you a story a month or two ago. I live out in horse country, and dogs are walking around. One day, so this dog comes right up to our porch, and I go, all right, so I'm going to feed him, right? I gave water. Okay, go to work, come home, he's still there.
Your new best friend?
This goes on for about a week. Now I'm posting this picture everywhere. Help. I can't keep the dog. So one day, as I'm leaving the house, he runs after me in the car. And I said, oh my God, this dog's going to stay, right? I said, you know what? I'm going to walk down the street, see if he follows me. Walking down the street, I get about 100 feet from my house. The dog looks at me and he goes home.
They often will have like dogs that lives in like areas like with farmland. They will often just kind of go visit their neighbors, but they often will have their.
So one of the things that tears us inside, here's this animal, whether it's next door or somewhere else, we want to feed and water and take care of them. And that's where they're going to stay until they get rambunctious enough to leave. And I don't know that I could have done anything else, because here's this guy, you can see he's dehydrated, right? And he's going like this, because he ran over to the house. He probably wanted to get in the backyard and eat something. So the point is that when we treat animals nicely, that they want to be around us. And let's talk about, if we could, about pit bulls. Tell us about pit bulls.
Pit bulls. I think pit bulls are the most misunderstood and maligned breed that exists. Pit bulls have been illegal in Miami-Dade County since 1989. And it's not just pit bulls, it's the American Pit Bull Terrier, the American Staffordshire Terrier, the Staffordshire Bull Terrier, or any mix thereof that substantially conforms to the breed characteristics. So unfortunately, I think media a lot of the times portrays them as more aggressive than other breeds, more dangerous than other breeds, but they're not. They really aren't. A lot of it has to do with early socialization. Many do have a high prey drive, but that can apply to any breed. So it's an unfortunate ordinance, but as long as it is on the books, the department does continue to enforce it. And I think the important myth that we need to debunk is the belief that if we do encounter a pit bull in Miami-Dade County, that the dog is immediately seized and put to sleep, and that there couldn't be anything further from the truth with that.
So pit bull lovers, I see them all over social media and trying to introduce, listen, here's this pit bull with my little baby. And we see it, and I think there's a show on TLC or one of them, pit bulls and parolees, all right? And then you look at that and go, oh my goodness, all right? And so over the last couple of years, for me, they've gotten a little softer, all right? And you bring up a really good point. We see a certain breed, and therefore we know, we think they're going to do something. I've had plenty of little guys come after me that they wouldn't do that kind of thing, but they're awfully snappy with us.
Yeah.
So what do citizens need to do to make sure that the county continues to fund animal services?
That's a fantastic question.
Mayor, are you with us?
Yeah.
Commissioners.
Oh, no. Mayor Daniela is definitely with us, and the Board of County Commissioners. They've been incredibly supportive of all of the amazing work that we've done. So the No Kill Initiative that they fully support is what has actually enabled us to save greater than 90% of all the pets that have come into the shelter since 2015.
So is the structure that you have a happy place for most people when they go there?
It is. It's you see both ends of the spectrum. So you see just the devastated, brokenhearted people that are there looking for their lost pet, and then you have the opposite end where it's someone that's just super happy there to find a new family member. So it's a little bit of everything, but a wonderful place.
So let's talk about cats that hang around people's homes that are not theirs until they start to feed them. All right. And let's say somebody wants to be responsible and they want to get them sterilized. What's the next step other than the desire to do that? How do they catch up these guys? And then who would they call, Doctor?
So we have a program called Tnr Program, Trap, Neuter, Release, or Trap, Neuter, Vaccinate, Release. The person that wants to do the right thing for the community cats and sterilize them, they can rent a trap at Animal Services. It is $50 to rent it, and then when you bring the cat, when you bring the trap back, you get your deposit back. So that is an option, and we also have a team of people that will go and trap animals or cats where it's needed. We not only sterilize them, but we give them vaccinations, we deworm them, and make sure that they go back out as healthy as possible, so that they are a good part of the community as well.
So I'd seen some figures a while ago about if the county really works hard, or people work really hard on sterilizing the pets and the outside ones, that at some point it starts to balance out to where the birth rate continues. Instead of skyrocketing, it'll, I don't know, decline, but be manageable. So where are we with that?
It's difficult to know exactly where are we, because it is estimated that Miami-Dade County has about 300,000 community cats out there. But
that's about 10% of the population.
But it is the most humane and effective way of controlling populations. It is, some people think that if you take the cats and, even like euthanize them or put them elsewhere, that's going to, relieve the problem or the issue that they have. And that's not the case, because when you remove those cats, there will be other cats that will go and take their place, because there's there's people that will feed them anyway. If they're there, it's because they are comfortable and they have, a good source of food, and they have, they're protected. So ideally you sterilize them and make them as healthy as you can, and they will, just kind of like keep that territory.
And Kathleen, I'm sure you've seen behind a lot of the shopping centers, in the alley up to the building, there are a lot of cats that are there, and I see people are feeding them. So if somebody was looking at some cats, how would they know that they were sterilized or fixed?
That's a great question. Whenever we perform a TNR surgery, the tip of the left ear is flattened. So instead of having the point on the ear, it'll just be flat across the top. And that's the perfect visual indicator that the animal has already been sterilized.
And it doesn't hurt them when you do it?
No, we do it under anesthesia, and it is just the tip of the ear to make sure it's flat, so that when you see the cat, in the its silhouette, you'll see that is a sterilized and vaccinated cat.
And let's talk about cat behavior, if you will. So if in your home, if you're feeding cats, sometimes there's what do they call when it's a group of cats, like a flock of birds, the colonies, and you see, there's 5 or 6 there, and then you look out and you see a couple of them hiding underneath the cars, waiting to get in there. If somebody wanted to catch those up, they could go to the store, they could buy a little trap, as we have, all right? And it's have a heart trap, right? We've caught plenty of critters, all sorts of critters, and had them fixed, right? And it's really, when you do that, it's a really good feeling when you do that. So let's talk about when you trap kitty cats and you take them and you vaccinate them and you fix them. In some cases, you bring them back to the neighborhood.
Absolutely. So if a cat is presented by a Good Samaritan, or if it's trapped by animal services, if the cat's in good physical condition, so it's a good body weight, it looks healthy, there's no reason to expect that by sterilizing and vaccinating that pet and putting it back where it was, that it would be any worse off. Excuse
me one second. We got Grant over here on the ground playing with Buddy, trying to show him to Blake. Hey, Blake, call your mother and tell him the puppy's coming home. So you catch these guys up, and then you release them into the neighborhood.
Yes,
right?
And it's a great thing. And the community cats, they provide rodent control. A lot of times you will see them behind shopping centers or behind restaurants, businesses. They do provide a service.
And Doctor, let's talk about if you have a rat problem and you put out rat poison. All right, tell us about the cats when they in that whole cycle of things.
So when you put out poison, you not only kill the actual rodents, but you also can kill wildlife. And possums, for example, are very important to control ticks and insect populations. And so you can not only kill the rats, but you can kill wildlife, and you can kill domestic animals like dogs and cats, because the rat poison will go in, but it will distribute in the tissues. So when they consume the rat, they will also be sick. So it's not like the most humane, and it can cause a problem because you can, hurt your own animals in doing it.
And unfortunately, that happened to us. We had a lot of rats, put out some poison. Before we actually put out, the dog got into it. 2 days later, 3 days later, it was dead. So our cycle at the house on our farm is a lot of doves, a lot of birds. The cats control it, right? And then the hawk gets the ones for the doves that are flying out, and you watch that whole cycle. So there's a purpose in a lot of animals, all right? And so the possums, they eat what?
They control a lot of mice, baby mice, and ticks and fleas and insects. So they are also the only American marsupial. They are native to Florida, so people should protect them. I mean, a lot of people are scared of them, and they think they're ugly because they have the bald tail. But they're actually wonderful creatures, and they should be protected. So don't kill possums.
Okay. So it was interesting. Anyway, so what about foxes? Yeah, people call up, hey, there's a fox in my yard.
Yeah, it's not something that you want to disturb. They're part of the landscape. They're an important part of the ecosystem. Kind of what Maria was just saying, how everything serves its purpose and keeps everything in balance. So with animal services, if there's injured wildlife or wildlife that may be behaving erratically, that could be a sign of rabies. It could also be distemper. It could be a number of things. But the only time the department would respond would be because of a suspected rabies case or because the animal's suffering. But wildlife really need to be left where they are.
So when we put out our cat trap, we fox, possum,
Sure.
raccoons. All right. So you folks, you got to be really careful when you release those guys. All right. So let's talk about raccoons. People do they call you and say, hey, there's some noise up there? And will the county come out? And your answer to them is
no. If it's a raccoon in your attic or another animal in your attic, that's something a nuisance wildlife trapper would need to assist with. What animal services can provide is advice. We can provide guidance on making your property less attractive to wildlife. So there's certain things you can do, especially the community cat feeders. So if you're feeding cats outdoors, you want to do that in daylight hours, and you don't want to put down any more food than can be consumed in about 20 minutes. You don't want to leave leftover food there that would unintentionally attract wildlife. That's not a good thing.
Let's say buffalo toads. All right.
Oh yeah.
The peacocks. All right. Let's see what else. Oh, the dogs. All right. All that stuff will come, and really, there's a lot of conflict with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you just want to make sure you're feeding responsibly in a manner that doesn't attract or entice wildlife.
We were fortunate to talk to Dr. Petrie. Is that his name, Tommy? Mm-hmm. Well, mosquito control from the county. And I failed to ask him along the line. He said that all this fits into our ecosystem. So my question is, what purpose do mosquitoes serve? We haven't quite figured it out. Who would like to answer that?
The mosquitoes keep the bats well fed.
Oh, that's
so
right.
Bats and the toads.
Tommy, you were right.
Bats eat almost their body weight in mosquitoes every night. So they perform an important service, and they should never be handled. You don't want to disturb bats or attempt to trap them. It's actually illegal. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Tell us about your community outreach programs.
Community outreach programs. Boy, you put me on the spot.
As she looks at me going, why did you ask me that?
I'm looking at Flora going, where did this come from? Let's talk about enforcement and animals. We have a wonderful community outreach program.
There you go. You got it.
And actually, I think Flora is over there saying that we're going to have a segment on that on the next Facebook Live.
Right. So one of the great things that Ron McGill, who you all know, he is like the spokesman for the world with the animals. People, there's that direct connection.
Yeah.
So maybe one day you're going to have that where you're going to walk in with your 3 or 4 things, go into the elementary and junior high school and say, hey, listen, guys, this is what we're doing, all right, to try to make a home for all the pets. And one of the things that we clearly see is people want to be more informed about the government and how it works.
Sure.
to get a better understanding, because a lot of people think government, they think of police, and they think, other code enforcement and the guys downtown. But the reality is that what percentage of people have cats or dogs? Most?
I would say most. I don't actually know. There's a lot of great research on that.
But a lot.
So, pretty much everyone.
Yes.
So we're all animal lovers. We all want to do the best that we can. And animal services really should be looked at as a resource for the community. So whether there's an injured animal or a stray animal, or there was a bite incident where your pet was harmed, or you were there to look into those matters and address them and make the community safer for people and pets. Okay.
Dr. Serrano, tell us one more time about our little puppy here.
So Rue is a beautiful puppy that was born with 2 legs. We are trying to raise funds to make sure that we get enough funds to be able to fund his cart. So he's going to need probably 1 or 2. And then he also needs therapy to learn how to use them, because as we all know, we all need driving classes to be able to get around in our cars when we're learning. So we are trying to raise about $6,000 to make sure that Rue has all the carts that he needs and all the therapy that he needs to be as happy as he can be for the rest of his life.
All right. I'm going to call out a couple of my friends. David Singer, put up some money and help this little puppy. All right.
Please.
Wayne Bracken, come on. Don Harris, Dr. Don Harris, put up some money for this little puppy over here.
Yes,
all right.
Please. He needs it, and he will be forever happy, and we'll send you a video of him running around with his carts.
That's great. Again, Dr. Serrano, thank you very much for being here. Kathleen, thank you so much for being here. And folks, you can donate at miamidade.gov/animal animal service,
Animals.
animals. All right. So I think that's great. I think that's going to be it for us. I want to thank Rue, thank everybody, thank Buddy, and Tommy. Thank you so much, folks. Have a great day. But before we do that, we got 15 seconds. All right, Kathleen, look at the camera and tell somebody, a young person, about their future right now.
Consider becoming a veterinarian or working in any field involving animals. It will be the greatest thing and the most rewarding thing that you can do. I
Terrific.
believe that.
And Dr. Serrano, you have 15 seconds. Tell us, tell that young person.
Adopt your future friend that will be with you forever at a shelter or a rescue, or volunteer at a shelter or a rescue. You will be so happy.
Great. I want to do a shout out to Yolanda Berkowitz, who's been helping animals for a really long time. Thank you for what you do.
She's amazing.
And folks, that's it. Tommy, thanks again. And for joining us. Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And Puppy, thank you.